I immediately got sick after coming home from my trip that you just saw in my last vlog. Don't be afraid to branch out because now I have a romance series that I like. I never thought I was going to be able to say that. Well, hello, I'm Erica. Oh my god, let's try that again. Well, hello, I'm Erica, and I'm Odd. What a week it's been. Over a week, actually. If you've been following my Vlogmas on my shorts, first of all, thank you. Second of all, you would have seen on there first that I immediately got sick after coming home from my trip that you just saw in my last vlog. I had a fantastic time on my trip. I had a blast. But I got home, I got showered, and I got ready for bed, and by the time I was in bed from all of my trains, it was about 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m., and I woke up at 6 a.m. the next morning and I couldn't drink water. My throat was so swollen and I was like, okay, I for sure have strep, right? So I go to the doctor. They do a swab that takes like a day or two to get back, and then they do a swab that is a rapid for strep, because I was like, it feels like strep. Something's wrong. And they said, well, it's not strep. And so my other swab comes back a few days later, and apparently it's like my body caught a cold on the train because my friend's not sick, so I didn't get it there. But apparently on the train I caught a cold or like a flu or something. It came back and I just have like a bacterial thing from my body trying to fight off a cold naturally because my immune system is compromised. I had to go on an antibiotic and I was really just like sick as a dog for probably 5 or 6 days, and then on Tuesday, which would have been 1 full week since I woke up sick, I started to feel a little bit better, and then yesterday I felt a little bit better, and then today was my first day I actually went back to work. So I am doing better. I just got sick and I wasn't expecting that. So this vlog I've decided is going to be a very bookish vlog because all I did was read while I was sick. I just was like, all right, I have a lot of to be reads in my Kindle, so we're gonna do that. And I also have a little bookish haul for you guys. It's gonna be very chill vibes today. Anyways, let's get into the haul. Listen, if y'all are new here, first of all, hi. Second of all, I'm not always this raspy and sick, I promise. But I love annotating. I got into reading again this year and I love it now more than ever, and I can't wait to see kind of like where my reading goals take me in the new year. I'm starting a reading goal on Goodreads for the first time ever for the year. I'm gonna start out small. I want to start out with a goal of like 15 to 20 books for like the entire year, and keep in mind, stop looking at other people's like reading numbers, because I fell down that rabbit hole a little bit when I was sick. I looked at this one girl on TikTok and she read like 15 books in 1 month because she's just a super fast reader, and that's just not me. I'm just not a super fast reader, and that's okay. I think my reading speed has improved the more that I read, but I'm dyslexic and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just something about me that makes me a little bit different, and that's a good thing. Point is, I don't read as fast as maybe some other people, and that's all right. So don't compare the number of books you read in a month to other people. It is not a competition. It is here for enjoyment. Never forget that. But anyways, since I got my Kindle, I really haven't been annotating physically as much because I'm not really reading physical books. So I wanted to get back into annotation because here's what I decided. I decided if I really enjoy a book or a series, I'm going to own the hard copy of it, and I'm gonna do a little book shopping spree at the end of this month, beginning of next year at some point. It'll be a vlog, I'll take you with me, where I'm gonna wait for the book sales, because there's usually end of the year book sales big time, and you can get a lot of like popular titles for super cheap. So we'll do a Barnes & Noble run and all of that. But I think that that's a very mindful way of keeping my bookshelf very organized and very clean, and again very mindful of like what's on it, where there's not just books there collecting dust. Like maybe I'll read it, maybe I won't. I did spend like $20 on it because physical books are expensive. So with the Kindle, the books are inexpensive. I can read it, and if I really enjoyed it, I'll buy the physical copy. With that, I also want to take the notes from my Kindle because I annotate and highlight in my Kindle. You can look up all of your notes from each book, and what I'm going to do is, because it says each page next to the annotation, I'm going to annotate the physical copies of my books when I have just some downtime. And I know what you're thinking, why own the physical copy when you own the Kindle version? Something could happen. And when I really want to like own a book, I'm going to own it pretty much forever. Like I'm not going to get rid of them. So I've decided to annotate the physical copies. these. I went a little ham with the annotating supplies. So first and foremost, this is the binder I'm going to keep all of my annotating stickers in. It's a little 3-ring binder. It's super simple. And one of the first things I got, because I also have dysgraphia in my hands, fun fact. So like my handwriting's awful. And I highlight, it's always a little bit wavy and that kind of bothers me. So what I got was these highlighting strips. I got all of these fun colors. I especially love these ones because I'm an autumn. The little highlighting strips. And obviously if the quote is longer, I can just add another strip right next to it. No big deal. I might invest in some longer ones at a later date, but for right now I'm pretty happy with these. And I got a bunch of different colors in these and in my annotating strips that I'm going to show you in a minute because I want the colors to sort of match the book covers. And then I got a bunch of annotating strips. Like, look at how thick this stack is. They have a bunch of fun colors, so like they have anything from like these sort of fun almost Easter colors to these autumn colors. They have blues, they have purples, they have pinks, they have neons, they have everything. We're gonna put them in the book, and they usually come with little like 3 rings on here where you see up here. I actually cut them off the bottom for them to fit in the book because they didn't fit perfectly with the rings and they were gonna knock. So I'm like, well, I kind of don't need them to perfectly fit. As long as one's holding on, I can flip through just fine and it'll be all good. And then I got, it's actually in a physical copy of one of the books I'm going to talk about today, but so cool, right? Okay, so obviously I got a special edition physical copy of Fourth Wing. I saw this book all over TikTok and I saw that it was like about dragons, and I love fantasy books, especially ones that have dragons. I think dragons are really cool. It has like black sprayed edges, which I think is really cool. And this is something I didn't know. I just honestly liked this cover better than the gold cover that I saw, but the bookmark I got is like monster claws. I know that like everybody has seen these everywhere, but I like it because it looks like the dragon's crawling out of the book. And I know that I'm a nerd for that reason, and I'm all right with it. Let my little nerdy weird heart enjoy the things that it enjoys. But I didn't know this when I ordered this copy. It has bonus chapters from Zayden's point of view. Oh, limited holiday edition. Maybe that's why it has the chapters and why it's red. This makes a lot of sense. Things are clicking. Anyways, I'm gonna go get this all organized. Also, before we get started, I forgot to mention that I got these really cute pens at the dollar store. And so just so y'all know, you can get some really cute annotation supplies for like super cheap. All right, let's get started. So there were some that did not make the cut just because this was not going to close comfortably and these were actually going to fall off if I didn't exclude some out of there. So no big deal, because now I have the spares for when any of these run out. I can take off the empty little plastic thing, recycle it, and then I can just replace it with one of these pretty colors. So for right now, they will just go in this drawer. And then as far as my highlighting strips go, they are just small enough that they can fit comfortably with my tarot cards in this drawer. And then this can go with my reading journal, and then everything is set to go. Oh, my Kindle's across the room. Back into my cocoon of blankets and pillows. I just want you to know, these are still by my TV. I just put them here because I wanted it to feel more festive in the video. So no, I'm not sleeping with hanging wires by my face. Let's get into the books, shall we? Everything that I read. Surprisingly, I did not read Iron Flame while I was sick. I recently started it. I picked it up when it first came out and I read a couple chapters, and I think like everybody else, I was sort of like, what's going on? But I'm now on like chapter, I don't know, 10, and I really enjoy it. Oh, I'm on chapter 14. So that's my current read, but let's go back. Let's go into everything I was reading. So obviously at the end of October, beginning of November, I started and finished Fourth Wing. I think it was at the beginning of November because I finished this in like 4 days. And this is why I like the Kindle too, because if I had seen this book in a store and picked it up, I don't think I would have read it. Because everybody on BookTok was recommending it, yes, but I opened it. Okay, how small the print is. Not the smallest print I've ever read, but with a book this thick. It's difficult with my dyslexia for me to be, number one, motivated to finish it, and number two, I'll get a migraine, which will make my dyslexia worse, which will discourage me. But I think because I read this on the Kindle, number one, I'm like kind of less intimidated by the size of a book now, because here's the thing. I didn't even realize that this was what? How many pages? Right, so this is almost 500 pages. Which is a lot for me. I usually read a good 200, 300 page book. So I probably would have been like, I can't do this. You can. If you think that you can't because of your dyslexia or something like that, like I did, you can. You just got to give yourself like a grace period. But that's the nice thing about a Kindle is when I read this book, it was this big. It was not this big, even though the same thing. Also, when you buy a Kindle book, sometimes they will give you a deal on the audio version for like, hey, you want the audio version for like $3 more? So I would read it on my Kindle, and then if I would get overwhelmed, I would stop and I'd listen to it. And that's a great way to get through the book. So if you're neurodivergent like me or dyslexic and you're having a time, that's okay. Switch it up, because listening to audiobooks is the exact same thing as reading. But anyways, this was my first read of November and I love it. I love the world. I know that everybody on TikTok and YouTube was going wild for it, and a lot of the YouTubers I watch, the booktubers that I watch, love it. So I gave it a chance and I'm glad that I did, and I'm enjoying Iron Flame as well. So that was my first read. Then Brittany's book came out. Miss Spears herself wrote a memoir, and I talked about that a little bit in the last vlog or two. Miss Spears is an icon for that. Let me tell you something. I'm a huge fan of like reality TV, right? It's my guilty pleasure. People would call it trash reality TV. They'd probably be right, but I like it. And I don't like the Real Housewives of Mars or whatever the million Real Housewives shows there are. I like Jersey Shore. I like Teen Mom 2. I now like Vanderpump Rules. I like that kind of just like juicy gossip. I love the meaningless drama of it all. Now, Brittany's book has that vibe because it's very much like every rumor you've heard in a tabloid about her was either confirmed or denied in this book. It was a tell-all. But it was not trashy like the reality TV, and the drama was not meaningless. It was very meaningful. Every single one of Brittany's ex-boyfriends and husbands, rot. She deserves nothing but peace and happiness and to be left alone from now on. Another one I actually started to read when I was sick but I did not finish was The Spy Coast. I got 30% in. I was listening to it on audiobook too. Maybe I'm like, maybe I just don't like physically reading it. Maybe it's like audio will be better, because it was one of the on the Kindle Unlimited where it was free for me to read and listen to, and you get what you pay for in that situation. Not everything on Kindle Unlimited is bad. A lot of stuff on Kindle Unlimited is good, but I see why no one was paying for this. I read the short book. It's called a novelette at the end of it, so The Gift. It is 58 pages. It's about an hour to get through. If you want a little fun Christmas spooker, it's your gal. It was fantastic. I read it in Union Station when I was waiting for my second train on the way to my trip. It was very fun, had a lot of twists, and I did not predict the ending. And I read a lot of horror and watch a lot of horror, so I can see a lot of twists coming, but I really liked it. One day I'll start giving books like star ratings like I do on Goodreads, but till then, we have this. And then when I was sick, I was like, I want to stick to this icebreaker book because it's a romance. We know that I like fantasy books. I like thrillers. We know this. I'm trying to broaden my horizons. And I've tried other romance books. I'm still trying them. It's difficult. It really is, especially when they're like Hallmarky, and it sucks. And I wish I liked those type of books because I see all these people reading these fun little like Christmas themed Hallmark style books and they look so fun. And I just can't do it. Pumpkin Spice Cafe was even a little too Hallmarky for me, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. But I have to say that, who is it here? Hannah Grace, who is the author of the Maple Hills series, got me to like a romance series because I will be reading her third book when it comes out this summer. I already looked it up. I'm so excited. She got me to like romance books. And I think it's because a number of reasons. Both books, Icebreaker and Wildfire, I read and finished them both while I was sick. I think what it is that the characters are not one-dimensional or two-dimensional. They're very three-dimensional three-dimensional characters. They all have their own struggles and their own backgrounds and their own issues and their own personalities, and they don't really fit a whole lot of stereotypes. While some of them are still in the roundhouse of a stereotype, they'll do something that totally shocks you and surprises you. You're like, oh, maybe you're not that stereotypical. And I know that this series is one that I've seen all over BookTok of people either like you love it or you hate it. I've seen a few people that are just sort of in between of like, it was fine, I enjoyed it, maybe I'll read the next one, maybe I won't. I've seen a few people like that, but you guys, I love this series. I love it, and it's so cute. And a lot of people are like, it's smut, it's just smut because of the spicy scenes. I will say that Icebreaker, yes, but the characters I loved in it. Like, yes, those scenes happened. Obviously, it's a romance book, but I didn't read it for that. I read it for like the characters and especially the side characters in JJ. I want a book for JJ. I want the comedic chaos that is JJ to be in one of these romance books. I need to see it come to fruition. I need to see his soft side that maybe isn't always sarcastic and funny and guarded. JJ and I have a lot in common where we break tension with comedy. I loved Icebreaker. I thought it was super cute, and I loved like the subplots and how all of the subplots eventually did tie in together, and it was really good. But be forewarned, it is a lot of spicy chapters, and if that's not your thing, that's totally okay. I don't think that you need to enjoy this book to enjoy Wildfire. Wildfire has significantly less spicy chapters. Does it still happen? Yes. Is it as graphic? Are the chapters as long? No. So if you want the three-dimensional characters of Icebreaker, but maybe more toned down spice levels, Wildfire's gonna be your winner. I enjoyed Wildfire a lot. I think it was a nice, cute little summer romance. It was a little bit different from like enemies to lovers. I actually really like the enemies to lovers trope I've discovered. Like, that's all I'll say. But this one was more of a slow burn of like, they didn't hate each other. It was a lot of like sort of miscommunication, but they recognized that. And it wasn't to an annoying point. It was like, there's miscommunication and it was resolved very quickly. So it didn't make you wait like the whole book to resolve one miscommunication, you know? These characters in Wildfire had a lot of baggage. And they had a lot of deep turmoil that they both related to, even though it was for different reasons and in different ways. And it's such a healthy book for people to recognize setting boundaries and things like that. And I really enjoyed it. It was a much deeper emotional book to the point where almost like, yes, there was romance, but God, it was about so much more than romance. And I think that's why I really enjoyed it, is these books aren't like, I can't live without you. They sleep together. Where are you going? They sleep together. Like, it's you know what I mean? Like a typical romance book of like, yeah, whatever. So I really enjoyed the series and I can't wait for Henry's book. Okay, here's the thing. I know that everybody loves Henry. Okay, I get it. Love it. Miss Hannah Grace. I want a JJ book. Okay? I want a JJ book. JJ's book needs to be the fourth book. Please let JJ have a book. Please. Please? Please. I want to see him cook for somebody. Please? I will stop. Okay. And I think, let me check my Audible. Yes, that is it. Okay. That is everything I read for the month of November and while I was sick. All of the books I talked about, except for Spy Coast, I highly recommend. I think you guys will really enjoy them, especially like if you're not a romance girly and you are a like fantasy thriller and scary book girly like me, I think you're really going to enjoy the Maple Hill series. Give it a chance. Branch out. Don't be afraid to branch out because now I have a romance series that I like. I never thought I was going to be able to say that. So if you guys know of any authors that are like Hannah Grace, please recommend them to me. I will check them out. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this vlog. I hope that you just had the best cozy and bookish time of your life. But that will be it for today's vlog. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Please be sure to like and subscribe and I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay healthy. Bye guys.